A Russian conscript soldier in a Kamaz without a driver's license rammed an Su-25 SM-3 attack aircraft at an airfield in occupied Simferopol. As it became known to the Telegram channel VCHK-OGPU, close to the Russian security forces, the aircraft received damage that does not allow its further use for its intended purpose. The incident occurred at the moment when a serviceman from the Chelyabinsk region, Alexander Erlikh, was driving a truck from one aircraft parking area to another. Having exceeded the speed limit, he collided with the attack aircraft, towed by a Ural APA-5D vehicle using a rigid coupling, the Telegram channel writes. The damage caused to the Russian Defense Ministry amounted to about $4 million. In addition, the military unit was deprived of the opportunity to carry out combat missions as intended due to the lack of reserve aircraft of this type. The court sentenced Erlikh to 1 year of suspended imprisonment with a probationary period of 1.5 years, and also partially satisfied the civil claim of the military prosecutor's office for 10 million rubles. The soldier asked to reduce the amount of damages to 300,000 rubles. The appellate court upheld the sentence, the Telegram channel reported. Krymskiy Veter adds, the incident occurred when a serviceman from the Chelyabinsk region, Alexander Erlikh, was driving a truck from one parking lot to another. Exceeding the speed limit, he collided with an attack aircraft towed by a Ural APA-5D, in other words, is a type of truck used by the Russians at their air bases as a refueling vehicle and also as an aircraft tractor. The result of the collision is that the attack aircraft received damage that prevents its further use for its intended purpose. According to official information, that is, it was destroyed beyond repair. Krymskiy Veter adds, the damage caused to the Russian Ministry of Defense amounted to 386.8 million rubles. In addition, the military unit was deprived of the ability to carry out combat missions as planned due to the lack of reserve aircraft of this type. The Sukhoi Su-25 is an attack aircraft that entered service with the Soviet Air Force in 1981. More than 1,000 units were built. It happens to be used by both sides in this war, as the Ukrainian Air Force has 17 operational Su-25s of various versions, including 4 two-seaters for conversion training. The Su-25 SM-3 is a very recent version that entered service with the Russian Air Force in 2018. So far, according to information published Oryx Spionkop, Russia has lost 37 Su-25s in this invasion.
Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday met with Kursk Governor Alexander Krymskiy to discuss the situation in the region and support for evacuees from border areas. According to Associated Press, Kiev sought to change its fortunes by launching an incursion into Russia's Kursk region in August, taking 984 square kilometers of Russian territory, in a bid to distract Moscow's forces in eastern Ukraine and strengthen its hand in negotiations. Russia, initially caught by surprise, intensified efforts to drive out the Ukrainian forces. Krymskiy drew Putin's attention to the fact that the compensation for the lost PF property of 150,000 rubles was made months ago and is not enough, and urged starting restoring infrastructure in the border area despite ongoing military action. Putin agreed to consider additional compensations and a restoration program with the government. The incursion in Russia's Kursk region didn't significantly change the dynamic of the conflict, and military analysts say Ukraine has lost more than 40% of the territory it initially captured.
Самое главное, на что просил обратить внимание, это на контакты с людьми и выяснение тех озабоченностей, тех проблем, с которыми 112 тысяч человек получили у нас выплату в 150 тысяч рублей. Это не единственная мера поддержки, и здесь я хочу вам сказать большое спасибо коллегам из правительства России за огромное внимание, за беспрецедентные меры помощи, поддержки и региону, и, конечно, в первую очередь жителей, но те 150 тысяч, которые люди получили несколько месяцев тому назад, во многом уже ими использованы. Понимаем, что сегодня в силу понятных причин, в силу того, что идут и
боевые действия, и наши воины героически освобождают Курскую землю, непосредственно сейчас приступить к восстановлению утраченной инфраструктуры невозможно, как невозможно сейчас посчитать объем затрат. Хотя бы потому, что мы физически еще не до конца всю нашу землю освободили. Но мне кажется также очень правильным, учитывая масштаб и учитывая серьезность этого вызова, рассмотреть возможность о принятии какого-то решения по восстановлению инфраструктуры в Курском приграничье.
Полностью согласен. Такое поручение правительству будет дано. И прошу вас вместе с коллегами из правительства Российской Федерации эту программу восстановления приграничья проработать. Самый чувствительный вопрос по дополнительной компенсации за утрату имущества. Вот этим назвали количество этих людей 112 тысяч человек, которые получили уже по 150 тысяч. Тоже согласен с вами в том, что, конечно, этих денег недостаточно. Поручу правительству прямо буквально сегодня, завтра, в ближайшие дни проработать все эти вопросы, и дополнительные решения будут приняты.
Владимир, вам большое спасибо.
Ukraine and Russia have swapped 150 prisoners of war each in the latest exchange between the two countries in the nearly 3 years of war. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky announced the return of Ukrainian prisoners of war in a social media post, stating that some of them had been in captivity more than 2 years. A video circulated on social media captured the jubilation among the freed Ukrainian prisoners of war. Some are draped in the Ukrainian flag, returning home on a bus. The Russian Defense Ministry stated that the released 150 Russian soldiers were undergoing medical checks in neighboring Belarus before heading back to Russia. Just like previous prisoner exchanges, the exchange on Wednesday had been mediated by the United Arab Emirates.
Хлопці, слава Україні! Героям слава! Команда координаційного штабу, офіс президента працювали над вашим поверненням. І ми зробимо все.